Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Now, welcome you to this online session of Python application programming, module 3. We have an agenda in module 3. We are going to discuss about list, dictionaries, tuples, regular expressions, and yeah, at the end, we shall see how to write a program using these four topics, and we shall try to debug if we have any errors, or we shall get to know about different types of errors which will be generated during the process of programming. So we shall be discussing about data structures here, different types of data structures like list, dictionaries, and tuples. Most of the data will be expressed in terms of list and dictionaries and tuples. It all depends upon the application. Yeah, excuse me. And we shall see whether what is the characteristics or features of list, whether the elements inside the list can be edited or cannot be edited. We call it as mutable or immutable. And we shall try to extract the elements from the list. We try to traverse inside the list. We'll try to use some operations using the list. It may be an ascending operator or a descending operation, or adding the elements inside the list or some of the list, and so on. And we shall try to extract the particular part of a list using list slicing. We have different methods which can be applied on list. We have already come across a couple of methods on list, like list.append, list.extract, list.split, and so on. And we shall see how to delete the elements inside the list, and also we will get familiarized with respect to list and strings. Okay, and in our previous examples, we have seen, like in our previous example of natural language processing in yesterday's class, we had come across converting sentences, or converting a text, converting a database into a list of sentences and a list of words, right? So we used to have a data structure which can be expressed in terms of list of elements, then perform some operations on that particular list. And we shall also see another type of data structure, that is dictionary, where the dictionaries are nothing but again an element or a list of elements in terms of key value pairs. Okay, it will have what, a key and a value pairs will be acting as an element inside a dictionary. So you might have come across an yellow pages or a dictionary itself, an English Oxford dictionary, where you have a key and a value in terms of a word and meaning. So you'll be having a key value pair in terms of word and meaning. In terms of yellow pages or telephone books, you'll have a name and a phone number. Name is nothing but a key, and a phone number is nothing but a value. Likewise, if I have a student list with me, I'll be having a student name and an USN, comma, again student name and USN, comma. Likewise, if I have a list of key value pairs or an elements with a key value pair, I call it as a dictionary. So I will see how can I use dictionary as a counters, files, looping into the dictionary, and advanced text parsing. Okay. And another type of data structure, just like a list, we have tuples. The only difference between list and tuple, it is immutable. The elements inside the tuples are immutable. Again, tuples may be a list, a single element, or maybe a list of elements, or maybe a list of list, or maybe a list of dictionaries, and so on. So we shall try to correlate list, dictionaries, tuples. We shall try to understand what is dictionary and tuples in combination. Can we deal with the tuples through dictionary, dictionary through the tuple? Can we create a dictionaries from the tuple, and so on? Just try to migrate between different data structures and try to create different data types. Okay. And at the last of this module, we have regular expression, which is a powerful toolbox. Understand, guys? I repeat, regular expression is a powerful toolbox which can be used in most of the Python application programming and most of the text-based or string-based functionalities. Like as I said in my previous class, while using natural language processing, it was a very preamble, very initial stages of natural language processing, which we have discussed in my previous class. Just you have converted a text, okay, just you have converted a content into a sentence, list of sentence and list of words, that's it. And then we are about to discuss about removing some kind of text which is of not meaningful, which is of stop words, which has got exclamatory mark, which has got some other symbols inside the text, so some unwanted values which we need to filter it out, right? We need to filter out the unwanted strings. So in such situations, we use regular expressions. That is why I stopped natural language processing at that stage. Why? Because it was involved in more and more contents of list and regular expressions. So I just stopped at that particular point. When we progress in understanding these concepts like list, dictionaries, tuples, and regular expressions, again we'll go back to the natural language processing. Along with natural language processing, we'll take a couple of more examples in different domains and try to deal with as and when it is required. Okay, so since natural language processing comprises of most of the contents, most of the concepts with respect to strings and the methods like list and regular expressions concepts, I'm taking NLP as an example or a case study. Okay, so this is my content in module 3. So now let us just understand what is a list. Guys, can you tell what is a list? Already have a concept called arrays in your previous programming languages. So what is a list? Yes, guys, have a small question here. What is a list?
Collection of elements.
Yeah, good. I got one answer. Rakshit and Timmanagoda, I guess you guys are prepared. I forgot to ask.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I'll give you this platform after 9 o'clock. Okay, is it okay? 9 to 9:15, 9:15 to
Okay,
9
okay,
o'clock.
sir.
We can
Sir,
speak.
from 9:15 also it's okay, sir.
From
9:15.
okay, so okay, fine. We shall see. Okay, coming to the topic, what list? As I said, list, unlike right any other arrays, right? Just like a string, a list is a sequence of values. Okay, in a string, what is a string? The string, the values are characters. It is a sequence of characters. So in a list, they can be of any type. The value in the list are called elements or sometimes called as items. Okay. So strings, the values are characters. Here in the list, they can be of any type. Okay, how do you create a list? I can create a list by enclosing the elements in a square brackets. Understand, guys, why I am stressing this? Because for different structures, data structures, I use different braces or different types of brackets or different types of enclosures to fit the elements. So example, you can see 10, 20, 30, 40. This is a list of numbers. I can have list of names or list of strings. List may also contain a string, a float, an integer, and any other characters. Just like this, you could see, and another list. See, I have a list here with a string, that is span. I have a floating point value as an element. I have an integer as an element. I have another list as an element. Guys, understand? List may contain a string, a float, an integer, and yes, another list. Correct? I hope the slides are visible. Slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just interrupt me if it is not visible or if something goes wrong, if I am muted or something like that, because I have shared the screen, full screen, so I'll not be able to have any controls. So as I've said, a list within another list, you call it as a nested list. If you could see, span 2.0 is a float, and then integer, and then another list. Sometimes a list may not contain elements. You call it as an empty list, where it is left with the empty brackets. Okay, and also you might expect, say for example, if you want to assign a list values to variables. Okay, suppose you want to assign a list values to the variables, you can do it. Just like you say a cheeses is equal to, I've just used some city names, Barcelona, Madrid, and Seville, and you can see like I can assign this list to a variable. And then you can see numbers is equal to list of numbers, an empty string or empty list here. And if I say print cheeses, comma numbers, comma empty, you could find this as an answer. I can concatenate those lists while printing, and I could see how this list of elements can be printed. And it can be printed using separated by the commas. Yeah, we shall go to the next concept called lists are mutable. What do you mean by lists are mutable? That means I can access the elements from the list. The syntax for accessing the elements of a list is same as you access the string, right? The syntax to access the element of a list is as good as, is as same as accessing the characters of a string. You just have to open the bracket, use the bracket operator, and give the index values. Give the index values, right? Can you see here? How do you access the elements of a list? With the bracket operator and give the index value. Of course, you guys know index in Python starts with 0. Correct? So I give cheeses of 0 in order to print what? The first element of this list, cheeses. Correct? Okay. Lists are mutable. What do you mean by mutable? Unlike strings, lists are mutable because you can change the order of items. Understand? You can change the order of items. You can reassign some values or an items in a list. Okay. Suppose if I want to change, yeah, this is the print option, and then I would get numbers of 1 is equal to 5, and see here, I have changed the item, the first element of the list, that is 17 has been, sorry, 123. The first element of this numbers has been assigned a new value here. This is what you mean by list are mutable, because you can change the order of the items in a list. You can reassign an item in a list. Here I have read the list as numbers, and numbers of 1 is equal to 5. That means this 123 numbers 1 is replaced by 5, and you could see the output 17, 6, 5 and 65. Okay, so we shall try to execute these things, and we shall try to take it forward. The other issues, why? Because going through the slides, it's not a good way of learning. So just let me, especially programming languages. Okay, so just let me stop this slide share and switch to my classwork notebook. Okay, is the classwork visible, guys?
No, sir, not yet. Now it's yours.
Now it's visible, I guess. I hope.
Yes, sir.
So I was just trying to explain the whatever the things that I've explained. I'll just put it here. I'll run the program. So we were discussing about list. So this is a list, and I have another example. This can be another list. Okay. And since I've said list can contain different types of elements like a string, a float, an int, and yeah, another list. Okay, and then we dealt with we can assign a variable to the list. You can do it. Okay, you can assign a variable to the list, right? And you can try to, yeah, another example. I have assigned numbers is equal to 17 and 23. I can create an empty list is equal to by just using an empty square bracket, and if I see what happens if I try to print all these different variables which comprises of list of elements, you could see I have first list, that is cheeses. I have printed second list, that is numbers, and the third list is an empty list. Okay, and then also I've seen, can I change the value? So what is the indexes of the list? Cheeses of 0, it would fetch the first element. So it would fetch the first element, and I can try to change the order as well as I can reassign some values. If I have some elements of list like this, I can try to reassign some value here to any form, any elements, and just see what has happened to the numbers, list of numbers. Now you could see the list of numbers has been changed from 17, 123, 25, 25, 68. Let me just give another value here. Okay, to 17, 123, 5, 45, and 68. So what do you call for this kind of property? I call this property as lists are mutable. What do you mean by mutable? Mutable in the sense I can change the order of the elements inside the list, as well as I can reassign the values of the elements inside the list. I can do anything, right? But in strings you can't do. That is the problem. But in strings you can't do. So now you can think of a list as a relationship between index values and elements. And this relationship is called as mapping. Understand, guys? See here, this is an index and this is an element, right? This is an index, that is numbers of 2. I call this as an index of numbers. And this is an element. So I call this as mapping. So you might get these kind of questions during your internals also, MCQs. So what do you mean by mapping? You're trying to find a relationship between indices and the element, and this relationship is called mapping. And each index maps to one of the element for definitely. If there are no elements, and if you are trying to map with a particular index, that means it's wrongly mapped if the element is not present. Each element will have some index. All indexes need not to have an elements. Understand? So list indices work the same way as string indices. I repeat, but you cannot change the values. Any integer expression can be used as an index. Any integer expression, right? And if you try to read or write an element that does not exist, you get an error. Okay, suppose if I read Jesus as some names, and if I say just verify, I'll use the in operator, right? I'll use an in operator to look into the element inside the list. I will use Edom in Jesus, and I would get a Boolean output or a result called true. Why? Because I had this name or element inside this list, so I got it as true. Whereas if I see for some other value or element inside the list, I would get it as false. Why? Because I did not have this element in this Jesus. Okay, so I guess it's pretty cool and very easy for me to understand the list and check whether this element is present in Jesus. So sometimes what I do for Edom in Jesus, so I like to perform some operation, say print element was found. I'm just trying to print the statement element is found, element is found. Okay, so I could use this operation, can't assign to literal. Okay, so what I do, you cannot assign directly to the for loop. So what I do, I will use this in some other statement in future. For Edom in Jesus is true. So for if this is true, right? So I'll not use this as a for loop. I would say A is equal to Edom in Jesus. So I would get A as what? A as true. Correct? Now I can use this, right? I can use this if A is true. If A is equal to true or something like that. So I can use this for some other purpose in future. So very similar to if not, also I can use if not to remove a particular characters from the string. Now go back to your NLP processing, right? NLP program. I have identified a list of stop words. Understand, I have identified this as a list of stop words which has to be removed from the string. Now I can use this as if not A equal to true, right? So these kind of operations that you can perform using in operators. You just search for a particular element, and if that element is present, you just declare it as okay, fine, it is present, or you just declare it as a person was aggressive on his comments, or just declare a person was very sober, very mild during making his comments, something like that. If you find a particular word, you just come to a decision saying that okay, fine, this is the sentiment or this is the behavior of the person. Okay, so this can be used as some other application. So likewise, I can also try to print. I can use this as for I in range length of numbers. Okay, and just see what happens if I just try to print numbers. Okay, see, I have used the numbers here. I have used the same arrays. Okay, so let me just put numbers here before, or else I shall give numbers is equal to some simple value so that you can understand this program. What is this program, guys? What is happening with this program? Guys, what is happening with this program?
It's multiplying the numbers of the elements of the numbers by 2, sir.
Yeah, so you are getting the result of elements as the multiples of 2, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I run this program, I'll get a results as the multiplication of each elements by the factor 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, right? So now this acts as an index. I acts as an index in iterative variable. So numbers of I range length of numbers. If you just take this out and put it here and just understand what is this range 0 to 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, what is the 6? 6 is excluded. 6 is excluded. If you just put I here, you could see. Okay, print I cannot do that. I should use print I every time to print and see the iteration stops at 5. Correct? Why? Because the value of I varies from 0 to 5. It excludes the last value, the final value of the range. Right? So while computing the range, suppose if I simply say length of numbers. What is the length of numbers? Length of numbers is 6. But if I say range of length of numbers, it is 0 to 6. But the range, if I put this range, if I assign some variable to this range, it would read in iterations from 0 to 5. It excludes this 6th index. It cannot include. Why? Because I don't have 6th index here. Right? So this is how I read using range and length. Length of numbers. The range of length of numbers would give me the elements inside the list. Now if I have this element, can I calculate the sum here? It's a very simple statement. Can I calculate rather than just trying to multiply this number, each element by the factor 2? Can I calculate the sum and average? I can calculate the sum. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Sir, what
Yeah.
if we remove length, sir, in for loop?
Here.
Yes, sir. In
Yeah, you
for
can
loop.
do this. Yeah, you can. You are saying like this.
ಬರೀ ರೇಂಜ್ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ರನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ
Right. ಅಲ್ಲ range ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ range of numbers because you should have some fixed length, right? You should have some fixed length here. What is range? Range, either you should specify what is that range.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್
This range is a function which takes input arguments as what? As some integer values. Here you are trying to give a list here. And it cannot be given as a list. So that is why it is telling list object cannot be interpreted as an integer. Range requires a numbers, some definite values from and to. But here numbers is a list. This is a list. So if I want to convert this into a number, so here I can convert this to a length of numbers, or I could say from range to 6. Okay. So this again, it will give the same output, but if I say 5, it will stop till 1 second. Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. See here, the number, this is not updated, correct? I did not multiply the value, the element 6 by 2. So it is retained as it is. Because I have fixed the range as 5, 4. So this 5 will not get multiplied by 2. This 5 is not getting multiplied by 2. Instead, rather than selecting the range by ourselves, what I did, if I want to multiply all the elements, so I just said length of numbers. Okay. So what is that you understood here? Range will always take an integer value as an input argument. Okay, range of int or some value to get the range. Okay. Sometimes if you are trying to traverse over an empty list, and that will never get executed. If you have an empty list, so it never get executed. So this loop, whatever, like using range, the list updates each element, length returns the number of elements in the list, range, understand, range returns a list of indices here in this case, list of indices from 0 to n minus 1. If you have 6 as n value, 6 minus 1 is 5. Okay, n is the length of the list. And I is an index of the next element, and it iterates. and it iterates in the body of the loop. Okay, yeah. So this was an example of traversing a list. Okay, guys, I shall stop at this point. In our next class, we shall discuss more about list operations and how to slice a list, how to remove the elements from the list. If you have removed the element, if I want to restore it back, or if I have to assign it some variable, what kind of removing operations that I'm going to use or methods I'm going to use in order to preserve the data which has been removed, the element which has been removed from the list, all those things we shall see. Once we studied this topic, we shall try to apply the same concepts in natural language processing and some of the computer vision algorithms in future. Once we complete a substantial amount of content which can be used for application, then we will use those applications in the coming classes. Okay, yeah. So I shall stop sharing the slide and I'll give this opportunity to two of our friends, Mr. Timan Gowda and Rakshit. I guess you guys are online, and you could. I've just requested them to discuss about the activities what they have done during the class, and if they have done something and have excelled in some other applications using programming Python in some other applications. I've just requested them to take this session for another 15 or 30 minutes or so for interaction. And yeah, thank you guys, and I welcome Rakshit and Timan Gowda to this session, and you can take over, guys. Who will present the first?
Rakshit gonna first. Rakshit gonna first.
Okay, Rakshit, I think you're gonna first to present. You can
Yes.
share your screen and you can start. I'll go mute.
Is my screen visible to everyone? Hello.
Yes, Rakshit.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Rakshit, it's visible.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Today I built a simple string manipulation, like we can say that application, then simple encryption technique. In this, like we're gonna encrypt a input given by the user to a specific encrypted form. So for this, I'm be using the ASCII of the alphabets. Like it can generate the alphabets ASCII according to this. Like A starts from 65 and small a starts from 97. So if you loop to this, you can get that A to Z. Yeah, 26 means 26 alphabets. So 65 plus 65 plus 8, you get A to Z. And for small letters also it's same, but it starts from 97. And also you can get the ASCII code of the character by iterating through the alphabets, like we generated the alphabets, right? If we pass the list to this here, I in alpha cap, you can get the 67 to 90. In the similarly, we can create a function so that if we pass a particular character, we get the output. So for example, if I pass A, you get 97. If I pass F, sorry, yeah. Similarly, like even you can get the alphabet by passing the particular ASCII code. For example, if I pass 111 here, get O. It is, you can see like that. So based on this concept, a simple Python program to encrypt the data. First, I'll show how it is encrypted. See, if I pass the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, you get this as the encrypted data. I'll clear this out. And I'll save this. Even delete this key. Okay. Only now I have only this string. If I this is a simple code to read the file as taught us, you get this one. But I want to read the text file to a string, so I'll be like storing the data to a string. Yet it is string, so you can see that this is the class string class. So I will convert this string to a list by iterating to the each character and separating out as a list. See. Hello everyone. It also includes even the space and the next line also, as we have given
Yes,
here.
Rakshit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go back to the program.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
guys, can you observe Rakshit has used list dot append of I. So dot append is a method which appends each and individual elements to, if there is already existing list, it will append to the existing list. Otherwise, here Rakshit has created an empty list with a lst is equal to square brackets, and is appending for I in string list dot append of I, right? So that is how he has created the list of elements. Correct, Rakshit?
Yes, sir. It
Okay,
iterates to
it's
each
just
character and it appends to the list.
correct. Okay, good. So just try to highlight whatever the factors like the syntaxes. ಈಗ list dot append ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. Fine.
Yes, sir.
For I in string, I is an iterative variable. So likewise, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, sir. So next, we have formed the list of characters. So we'll convert this to a particular ASCII code. As we saw here that if we pass a character, we get the ASCII code. Here, see, character gives the ASCII code of the, CHR function gives the ASCII code of the character, and ORD gives the ASCII code for the character. It gives character of the ASCII code. These both are inbuilt functions in Python. So if I pass the whole list, say I'll pass the input. Input is the parameter of the alpha to ASCII function here. If I pass the whole list and if I iterate over the list without range is not required, because if I pass the list, Python will understand how many, will only iterate to the list when the list is ended. So if I call ASCII list as I defined a list, empty list here, I'll append the each character, each ASCII code of the character, and I'll return the list. For example, if I'll show you. See, for the H, it took the 72 as the ASCII code, and it keeps on iterating to each of the character, and it appends every ASCII code to the list. So next, ASCII to binary is the same thing, but we'll pass this list here as input, and we have an inbuilt function called bin of n. So a bin of n means binary of given number. It displays the like 72 binary number for a particular number. So if I pass this list, you get here this like this. So is for 72, it's the 10010080. Here I have replaced 0b instead of nothing, like, see, I'll show you that. Yeah, in display, it's adds 0b into the by default, because it's saying that this is in binary form. So I don't want that. So I'll just remove it. In the same way, like, okay, from we got the binary list now. Now list to string to list. I will explain what is from here. This is a string list, right? Because it's enclosed with a single quotes. So I'll join all the uh, elements of the list to a single. Show all the elements of the this list is joined to a particular one single string. So I'll for the encoding purpose, now I'll split the strings for my needs. Here it was splitted according to 7 digits, and the left digits were left like that. So I can even change this to, like, say 4. We get 4 characters separated out. So this is mainly because, like, we can change this parameter as we required, like to increase the key length or to decrease the key length. This is the main parameter. Yeah, here I pass this is kind of a comprehensive list, like it iterates over like for loop is given inside the list only. So another type of iteration we can do. Here I take the each character, and in the range I'll convert it to, I'll split it to, or let's say, like, if I give 16, this only first 16 characters will be sliced out, and it will be displayed. It will be stored in temp, and string list to integer list. So to process further, we need again a string list. So I'll just pass this temp. I'll iterate over this temp, and I'll just append it to the substring list to convert it to integer. Here dot append, as you know, is common. I'm saying that convert it to int, where the given number is in the format of base 2. Like if it was in like hexadecimal, I should have given 16 here. In the same way, like I have this in binary form, I am saying that it is in binary form of base 2, convert it to a string. So we get the numbers like this. For the first 16 characters, it was this one. So for simplification, I just show you, like, and you can say it as 2, like 0, 1, it's 1, the same way. Now binary to hexa, this step is not required, like it's an extra layer of security, we can say, or the encryption. We can, the same way we did here, the ASCII to binary, here binary to hexa. Here also we have a inbuilt function x, which converts the given character or number to a hexadecimal. And here also same, we replace 0x with it, because it's saying that number format. So if I run this, you get this. It's in hexa forms. You can see that F, B, B, A, 9790. Okay. Now again we are converting hexa to string. The same way. This step is not required for my purpose. I did it, and we got this. Let me say that if we have a sheets of data, like 1 page, 2 pages of Microsoft Word data, it has many characters. So when we do this process, we get a repetition of characters, like 1A may be repeated n number of times in that particular document based on the content of the document. So here only we took the hello everybody. So it's only this much we got. Here we'll find the unique elements of each list. It's like what are the unique elements in this. So example, if it was 91, 91, 97 and so on, 91 will not be repeated here 2 times. So we are done it like this. If I will iterate over the list, list one, that is input of this one, and if X not in unique list, so initially unique list will be empty, so it will see the first element and it will see that if it is not in unique list, it will append that particular X element to the unique list. And if it was, if let me say that 9197 is again repeated here second time, so it will again go to the second element. It encounters 9197. It checks here if X is not in unique list. So already it is in unique list, so it returns false. So it will be not appended to the list and it will return the list. As here all the unique characters displaying the same. Now yeah, we will generate a random key for the particular encrypted code, like 97, 96 or the list we have. But let like I'll show you, like, yeah, this is the characters I generated. Here also you can say like can give 10. It generates a 10 characters. Here what's happening is Unicode.append, it joins the random choice of string. Like random.choice is a package where choice is a function. In that it selects the uppercase characters from the ASCII code and digits, where n is the length of the code we want. So we can see that every time I run this, it generates a unique number. So after that, we'll do a mapping process. Mapping is like nothing but like I am saying that for 9197, this is the key for it. I'm saying like this. Here I declare a variable dictionary called
one
mapping.
second.
Yes, sir.
Rakshit, one second.
Yes, sir.
See, guys, I think he has generated an encrypted word for each character or string, and he is trying to create a dictionary here, where a dictionary is nothing but a list of key value pairs. And a dictionary has been created with the flower brackets or flower braces. You could see here, mainly observe the list has got a different type of bracket or the notation, and here it's a dictionary has got a different type of brackets. Here it's a flower braces and there it's a square braces. So list always consists of a key value. You could see a key is as a character which is encoded in a string, and colon and a value. Again it's a string. Yeah, the one which is highlighted was key and the second one was value, separated by another key value pair as an element. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Now, like dictionary, we can like directly without finding the unique elements, we can just put it into the dictionary. Dictionary is the main purpose. Like it does not duplicate the element, but we don't know the how many unique elements. And let me say, like if for one it was generated for 6, and again for the key value 2, code may be F5, but here for again the one may be generated F5 here, like without unique elements. For the same key, many unique string may be declared. So to troubleshoot that, we took the unique elements and we mapped that to a dictionary. So if I run this, you get like this. Yeah, see here 5. Sorry, 5xw key, this code is mapped to 9197. See here. In the same way, all characters will be mapped. Now it's the main, like writing the data to the what we have processed, we will write that to back to that. So I have declared an empty list encoded data here to access, because like we could have accessed directly using the key value, but you cannot access the directly key value when it is not an integer. Dictionary is mainly that key value will be always in integer form, but we have here in string form. So we separated out, I separated out the dictionary to key values, key and values list. I'll iterate over the X list. X list is this one. Yeah, this one. It returns the characters, right? This one, because I'm taking this one because I want to uh, specify the same without, I want to even print the key for even duplicate key, so I'm taking this one. So if I iterate over this, it will take the key is equal to temp list of index of 1, in the sense it like index of I. Here dot index is the function which takes the index value of a list. So see, it iterated over here, it came here, X list of I. For X list of I, this was the element. For this, in the dictionary, this index would be 0. So it came here like encode of append dot 0 was stored in this key, and it gave the 0 here, temp list of 0, and append dot temp list of 0, temp list of 0, temp list 1, sorry, temp list of 1 is the keys. These are the keys, these are the values. For 0th value, this was the for 0th index, this was the value. For 0th index, this was the key. So it's appending the empty list to the key, and it will print the encoded data. See here, this one. Now this is like just like printing only the key values, but even it prints the key value for even the duplicate elements. Let me say, like if I add 997 here, somewhere here at last, the key value would be 5. This would be repeated at the last only. So if I run this, I'll show you the document. See, this is the key generated for this, and so I ran this block of code twice, so it's displaying the key twice. That's it. For hello everyone, it is encoded in the form this one. We say even we can have like this numbers. So you can see here. See, this is the encoded form for this one. And if we are only sharing this code for the users, like we can use this for one-time application in a defense, or like question paper example, video question papers, like it used for only one time with the same set of keys. See here, for the mapping values will be stored here. This is the really important. If we leak this, code will be, we can actually decrypt the code. For decryption, it is same process, but we'll write this from reverse order. First, we'll find the mapping order, then it will find the strings, then so on, will convert it back to string to X, then XR to binary, then binary to ASCII, then ASCII to alphabets, like that we'll do it. That's it, sir.
Okay, good. Yeah. Any questions from audience? Guys, do you have any questions, or there's either way if you have understood completely or you not understood anything? Only two possibilities. If you ask any questions that I could fit you guys in moderately understood. No questions? Okay. So if no questions, I would just like to conclude this session. Like as I've said, discussing about the syntaxes or as per the V2 syllabus will not fetch you anything, will not be dealing with any real-time problems or will not match any industrial standards or requirements. So what I can do is I could teach you the syntax and the formation of the program for some specific application, but ultimately it is your creativity or your way of understanding and trying to apply those concepts of syntax and sequences or arranging the program and generating the program for say some specific application. This can be dealt only if you have some problem, come across some application, try to start building a small program, write a small program with the basic syntaxes you know, so that you can explore more. As your friend have done encryption part, decryption also can be dealt in the same way in a reverse order sequentially. So in encryption, as we can see for data communication and all, we require encryption to secure the data lines in networking systems. So in such situations, encryption is very much required, and encrypted value which cannot be hacked or which cannot be decrypted any of the user unless and until it's been provided with to an authenticated user. So and many in the while going through the program, Rakshit has defined so many for loops, so many iterative loops has been defined, some strings, characters, list. He has used dictionaries, and at the end he has written those codes, and he has written those values, encrypted data onto a text file while opening a file and creating the file. So this entire program he has done using whatever we have done so far in the class, and along with that he has tried to explore more things. 20% in the class, 80% he has explored with the same content, right? So be careful, guys. I am, as per VTU, I am teaching you the limited version of Python programming, right? Only thing what you can do is you have to explore more by keeping one problem in your mind or an application in your mind and try to explore in and around of that function. If I said list dot append, list dot remove, list dot pop, list dot some method, why only those four methods? So that is VTU syllabus. So you go beyond that, what is industry required. So kindly make sure whatever that if I say one line, you have to explore 5 to 6 lines, right? Because I cannot teach everything. I cannot teach you the logic how to build program. I can only say this is my requirement. You have to build logic. You should be strong and strong enough to build your own logics and have a good syntax, have a good program, have a good sequence of statements, and so on. Right? That is how you become strong in programming. Right? So thank you, Rakshit. I think I have to give Timan Goda for the opportunity in the next class. Okay. I think you
Okay,
have
sir.
to wait for next class, man. Huh? Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for attending this session.
Thank you,
In
sir.
the next session, last 15 minutes, as I said, I'll give it to Timan Goda to present his presentation or give his presentation. Okay. Thank you. Stay safe. Have a nice day.